Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Friday Night Not Live this week from the Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show as we look forward to game week 16, which is the first of the double game weeks this season. So we are back to back this week and then back again next weekend. So all of those non-European sides in the league, 11 of them this year, are going to be faced with back-to-back Premier League games for the first time this season. There has been some EFL Cup action, of course, but first time the first team squads have had to be sort of put through their paces for 3 sets of 90 in sort of 6, 7, 8 days. So let's have a look and see what we're going to go through today. We've got some updates on last weekend's performances. We'll have a look at the team. As you could see, the rank has changed massively from 69th to 67th. A big jump on Saturday, less good on Sunday and Monday. We'll have a look at the match centres to see where these points came from. We'll have a look at the leaderboard. We've got some team of the week, team of the season, transfer counts, the next 3 sets of fixtures with Rob T's graphic for this weekend. Then we'll have a look through the charts on the transfer planner, look at the team, see what plans are in place. Change from last week, we didn't bring in a United player last Monday, haven't seen that lineup, so almost certainly one coming in this week at some stage with the single to follow next Thursday. And then we will let everybody get off for hopefully an enjoyable weekend. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so let's have a look at the team then. So in goal, Pope with his 3 points. At the back, Timber with 5, Captain Saliba with 6, Chalabar with 8, and Munoz with 14. In the middle of the park, a no-show from Semenyo, so 0. Captain and Dye with 4, Enzo with 9. Then up front, Haaland with 4, Captain Salah with 6, and Thiago with 7. So disappointing captaincies all round. Salah only a shot on target on Saturday. Could have had Chalabar or Munoz. At least Haaland, the popular captain, didn't do much better. In fact, did slightly worse. On Sunday, I only had a choice of 2, so I went with Saliba thinking he was going to get passing. It was Timber that got the assist, and Saliba's passing dropped off when he got moved out to the right. And then on Monday, a bit spooked by that Manchester United lineup, rightly so by the looks of the result, 0-1 at home to 10 men. So I stuck with Ndai, who only got his captaincy from appearance points doubled from 2 to 4. So all in all, not much to write home about, 66 points and a rank rise of 2 places. So let's have a look at the match centres. So first up was Burnley 0, Chelsea 2. Goal scorers for Chelsea were Pedro Neto and Enzo Fernandez. And then the tier 3s only Tosin Adarabioyo, who's tier 3 on passes and tier 3 on tackles, but probably not going to be in the side this week. And even if he is, they're playing Arsenal. This partner for Chalabar in the Chelsea defence has been a bit of a nightmare from start to finish. Next up was Bournemouth 2, West Ham 2. So a game of 2 halves, literally. Very windy day on the south coast, and it looked like you were playing with the wind in the first half, left to right, and with the wind in the second half, again left to right, but obviously teams switch over at half time. So West Ham into a 2-0 lead with Callum Wilson scoring both goals, and then Bournemouth came back. They had something like 4 XG in the last half an hour. Eventually scored the goals through a Tavernier penalty and Unai. Tier 3s, Areola, 10 saves there. Shows a lot about what was going on with the shots on target. And for Bournemouth, just Cook with tier 3 in the passing. Next up, Brighton 2, Brentford 1. Goal scorers were Welbeck and Hinshelwood, which brought Brighton back from being behind at half-time to winning at full-time. Thiago with a penalty goal for Brentford, and as discussed, he missed a penalty as well at the last knock-ins. Tier 3s, Iari with the tackles for Brighton, and that's it. Fulham 1, Sunderland 0, late winner for Fulham through Jimenez. Tier 3s only on the Brighton side in tackles, and it was Mukalele and Traore. Then Liverpool 0, Nottingham Forest 3. Goal scorers for Forest were Murillo, Savona and Gibbs-White. Tier 3s, Liverpool with a pass in, Szoboszlai and Van Dijk. For Forest, Williams and Sangare with the tackles. Williams ended up on a very nice 13, and Murillo an excellent 16. Savona 15. Yeah, some high-scoring Forest players there for anybody that's got them. Not highly owned, I don't think. Next up was Wolves 0, Crystal Palace 2. Goal scorers for Palace were Munoz, who's been an absolute pleasure to hold, and Jeremy Pino. Tier 3s only on the Wolves side, both in tackles, Agbadou and Andre. Munoz there with 14 pointer. Newcastle 2, Manchester City 1 in the evening game. Harvey Barnes with both for Newcastle and Ruben Diaz for Manchester City. Tier 3's Barnes with the shots and Nico Gonzalez with the passes, and that was it. Leeds 1, Aston Villa 2 on Sunday. Goal scorers for Leeds with Nemecha, which was a ricochet that he didn't know a lot about and bounced into the goal. And then Morgan Rogers with 2 second-half goals. So another team that lost the first-half lead there. Rogers with a brace. It was popular earlier in the season. I think it's 8.7. Could be making a comeback into people's thoughts here. Tier 3s, again on the lead side and in the tackles, Goodmanson and Ampadu. And then the North London derby, Arsenal 4, Tottenham 1. Goal scorers for Arsenal with Trossard and then Eze with a hat-trick. Richarlison with a wonder goal from a long way out for Tottenham, but that was about it. That's the only shot on target they had, apart from Simons, who came in the second half. So tier 3s, Mikel Merino with the tackles, Eze with the shots, and João Paulina with the tackles. Then the Monday night football, Manchester United 0, Everton 1, Dewsbury Hall the goal scorer. Tier 3s were Shaw, Yoro and Bruno Fernandes with the passes for Manchester United, and Pickford for the saves for Everton. And we have a look at the leaderboard here. You can see my ranks at 67th. Top 10, Johnny Curry in 10th, JC Milan 68 for the week, 10.28 altogether. Colin Wilson in 9th, Brencol FC 78 for the week and 10.34. John Jacobs and Alex sharing 7th with Royal Blues and Fortuna Muckledorf respectively. John 69 for the week, Alex 52, and they are both on 10.36. In 6th place is Salvatore De Gennaro with Guiar, 60 points for the week, 10.37. Duncan Bailey back into the top 5 with Bailey Boys 85 for the week. It's a good score, 10.39. 4th place Martin Brown, allotment 11, 85 as well for Martin, 10.40. And in 3rd place is Aaron Smith with Bunnet 73 at 10.43. 2nd place Tony Davies, FT Lauderdale Strikers 70 and 10.53. And stretching his lead at the top is Gary Robbins with GA Rovers, 81 for the week. Well done, Gary, 10.74. So a 21-point lead. And where does that all leave us for Team of the Week then? So in goal is Pickford, 7.8 million, 12 points, 6% owned in the top 100. Back four of Murillo, Savona, Munoz and Tosin. 16, 15, 14 and 13 points respectively. Very low ownership apart from Munoz at 55%. In midfield 5 again. So we've got Eze, Barnes, Rogers, Trossard and Dewsbury Hall, 23, 17, 16, 12 and 9 points respectively. Only one in double figure ownership is Rogers. And then up front, Callum Wilson, 7.4 million, 14 points and not owned by anybody at all. See how many of these are actually in the team of the season. So, team of the season has scored a total of 902 points so far. There's a bit more ownership here. So, this is in a 5-3-2 formation. Raya in goal. He has 74 points, 48% owned. Back five, Munoz, Timber, Shalabar, Gabriel, Calafiori. And they range from 86% of Timber down to 6% of Gabriel, obviously injured, so there's quite a few people sold him already. I imagine those 6 will be moving him on this week. In midfield, we have Semenyo, Mbumo and Enzo. 8.4, 11.5 and 8.6 million respectively, all in the 70 point range, or 70 to 80 point range. Semenyo 72% owned, and Mbumo in exactly 50 and Enzo 22. And an upfront pair of Haaland, who is top scorer with 122, and he's also 100% owned in the top 100. And Thiago of Brentford, 7.0 million, 82 points and 37% owned. Let's see how we're looking for transfers. So these are what's remaining this week. So overall 41.16. If you're in the top 100, the average is 37.48. If you're in the top 50, 35.42. And if you're in the top 10, and I expect Duncan Bailey in 5th has dropped this figure markedly this week, so it wasn't this low last time we had a look. 25.7 in the top 10. And let's see if anybody is going to be using any of those remaining transfers this week. These are the upcoming fixtures for this double game week 16, and the one that follows game week 17 next weekend. So on Saturday this week we have Bournemouth visiting Sunderland, Brentford hosting Burnley, Everton hosting Newcastle, Fulham travelling to Tottenham, Leeds going to Manchester City. Then on Sunday, Arsenal visit Chelsea, Aston Villa host Wolves in the Midlands Derby, Brighton go to Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace host Manchester United. That's a very early kick-off, 12 p.m. on Sunday. Liverpool travel to West Ham. Then there is a midweek fixture set. So Tuesday we have Bournemouth v Everton, Fulham v Man City and Newcastle v Tottenham. 6 games on Wednesday, Arsenal v Brentford, Brighton v Aston Villa, Burnley v Crystal Palace, Leeds v Chelsea, Liverpool v Sunderland, and Nottingham Forest travel to Wolves. Then on Thursday, in a single game day, it is Manchester United at home against Wolves. Then the following weekend, 7 games on the Saturday. So Arsenal travel to Aston Villa, Bournemouth host Chelsea, Brentford travel to Tottenham, Burnley travel to Newcastle, Everton host Nottingham Forest, Leeds host Liverpool, and Manchester City are playing Sunderland at home. On Sunday, just the 2 games. Not much of a Super Sunday really either. Brighton against West Ham, and then Crystal Palace travel to Fulham. And I think that's another Sky policy where I believe it's the end of the Grand Prix on Sunday, sort of the final race. So they deliberately have lesser games on that Sunday to give the Formula One fans a fair run at their main event channel. Then on Monday we have Manchester United again on a Monday, and this time they travel to Wolves. And these are Rob T's goals and clean sheet projections. So on Saturday, we have Sunderland against Bournemouth. So Sunderland 1.23, Bournemouth 1.4. Clean sheets, 25% Sunderland, Bournemouth 29%. Brentford against Burnley. That's one of the big matchups this week. So I wonder if Thiago could be a captaincy option. So Brentford expected to score 1.93. Burnley less than 1 at 0.84. Clean sheet percentage, I don't think there's too many with Brentford defenders though. So 43% clean sheet for Brentford, 15 for Burnley. Also on Saturday, Manchester City against Leeds, so almost 2.5 goals predicted and 47% clean sheet for Manchester City. So maybe Haaland will be the default captain, not Thiago. Leeds 0.75, so less than a goal and an 8% chance for a clean sheet. Also Everton against Newcastle, so Everton 1.21, Newcastle 1.34, and then 26 and 30% chance of clean sheets. So if you're a betting man based on those odds, you'd go for something like a 1-1 draw. Newcastle away defeat in Europe again this week. Their away form isn't up to much. Late on Saturday, we have Tottenham against Fulham. So Tottenham are 1.52 and Fulham are 1.17. Tottenham scoring but getting well beaten again in Europe this week. Must be said that Manchester City rotated their entire team and still lost in Europe. So Tottenham 31% chance for clean sheet, Fulham with 22%. Sunday lunchtime, so Crystal Palace 1.53. Manchester United 1.4, clean sheet percentage 25 and 22%, so fairly even by the looks of it, that game. Aston Villa against Wolves, this is another one where Villa are heavily fancied, so 1.88 goals they're expected, Wolves at 0.89. 41% chance for clean sheet for Villa and only 15% chance for Wolves. Another one of the Sunday 2 o'clocks, or 2:05s they are this week, is Nottingham Forest 1.28 against Brighton 1.35 and 26 and 28% chance for clean sheets. So again, another one that looks like a 1-1 draw. West Ham against Liverpool, the final sort of 2:05 game. See what happens to Liverpool this week. Well hammered again, not just at the weekend by Forest, but in Europe this midweek as well by PSV. So West Ham are 1.17. Liverpool 2.09 goals. West Ham clean sheet 12%, Liverpool 31%. I doubt I'd be betting 31% on a Liverpool clean sheet, to be honest. And then what could be a good game is the 16:30 Chelsea against Arsenal. Two good informed sides, both beat sort of heavyweight European sides in midweek. Chelsea getting the better of Barcelona with an Estavio belting goal, and then Arsenal 3-1 winners over Bayern Munich on Wednesday. So 1.2 for Chelsea, Arsenal 1.48, 23% chance of a Sunderland clean sheet, and Arsenal at 30%. Let's take a look at the points charts then, see who's top of the pops, and it's no surprise Erling Haaland still at the top at 122. But a jump into second place for Munoz, 85 points, sees him in second place. Timber, 84. And then we've got three more over 80 with Thiago, Chalobah, Gabriel. In the 70s, Semenyo, Mitchell, Calafiori, Raya, and Burmo, Ruths, Gahey, Enzo, Henderson, and Ruben Diaz. And then in the high 60s, Pope, Rice, Saliba, Lacroix, Mateta, Palhinha, Caicedo, Cucurella, and Pickford. And then see these guys on points per 90, so no surprise to see Haaland well at the top, still over 10.5 points per 90. Most of the rest sort of in between 6 and 7. One a bit further down who's sticking up is Saliba, over 7.5 points per 90. That's because he's not played every game, but when he has, he seemed to have scored well, either through tears or clean sheets for Arsenal. So points against ownership, see Haaland top of both at 100. Munoz over 50, Timber over 85, Thiago 37, Shalabar 59, Gabriel, as we saw earlier, is dropping down on 6. Semenyo still in nearly 3/4 of teams at 72. Mitchell hardly anybody at 2. Calafiori 28, Raya 48, and Buemo 50. Wonder whether people will be moving off and Buemo in favour of another United player if they haven't brought one in yet. Riffs at 4, Gahey 14, Enzo 22, Henderson at 2, Ruben at 3, Pope at 29, so it's either Riffs, Pope or Raya by the looks of it for goalkeepers. We'll Pickford in a few further down as well. And then we've got Rice 23, a good price at Rice I think these days. Saliba 38, Lacroix 1, Mateta 8, Palhinha 4, Caicedo 7, Cucurella at 15, and as we said, Pickford down there with 6. And again, points per million. So Thiago, reasonably cheap for what he does. He's the highest rank there at 11.7. Shalabar, another one at 11.2. Riffs at 10.9. Let's have a look at the tier points. There's been some changes on these since we last had a look. So top of the pops now for tiers is Van Heck with 30. He's got a mixture of tackles, passes and shots. Palhinha, a lot more tackles, but he's next best with 29. Elliot Anderson, 28, who was sort of vying with Caicedo after 6, 7 or 8 weeks. Haaland, 27, all in shots. Rice moving up there. Again, he's got a mixture, 26. Caicedo, 26. And Szoboszlai, 26. Liverpool's best player by a distance, Szoboszlai. Saliba there with 24, mainly passes with the odd tackle. Dubravka at 24, it's all saves. Enzo 23 with a mixture. Shalabar 22, Fernandez 21. They've all got a mixture there. Ruffs then with 20. Virgil mainly passes, the odd shot 20. Dunk all passes 20. Mitchell tackles and then the odd shot 19. Zubimende a mixture 19. Adams, yeah, mainly tackles, but then passes and the odd shot, 19. Thiago, nearly all shots, 18. Florentino, nearly all tackles, 18. Munoz, tackles and shots, 17. Gahey, a mixture, the odd shot, 17. Ruben, mainly passes, 17. Gravenberch, fairly steady across all 3, 17. And Longstaff, nearly all tackles and the odd shot there for 17 as well. And if we have a look next at the ownership, so this is the top owned players. So Haaland 100%, Timber 86, Semenyo 72, and Dye 67, Shalabar 59. Others in the 50s are Munoz and Buemo, Raya Saka in the 40s. In the 30s, Saliba, Salah, Thiago, Fernandez. In the 20s, Pope, Calafiori, Rice, Enzo, Sarr. And then in the teens, Van der Ven, Voltemada, Cucurella, Gahey, Xhaka and Virgil. And then at 10 is João Pedro. And that's how they fare on how many points they've been getting. And there's a few. So Raya is above points compared to his ownership. Same with Thiago. Pope and Calafiori 2 more. Then a few sort of further down the bottom. Van der Ven dropping off a bit now. And Gahey, I think he missed a game, didn't he? Otherwise he might have been a bit further up there as well. So let's have a look then at what's the background to these points. So these are the passes per 90. So only 2 in the green, which are Tosin and Saliba. And then we have some in the orange, so between 65 and 75. So Dunk, Virgil, Achimpong, Chalabar, Curtis Jones, Gonzalez and Rodri. If we have a look at the shots, so Haaland and Krupi Jr. are in the orange, quite a few in the yellow. Nobody good enough to be in the green. Find the tackles. One in the green now, which is Palhinha, and we have 4 in orange: Ugarte, Florentino, Veltman and Vifa. Quite a few in the yellow. And then saves. Ramsdale, who after Pope's mistake, I wonder if he'll be getting a go for Newcastle anytime soon. He's at almost 7, only one in the green. Then we have Areola and Dubravka in the orange. Difficult for keepers to get enough saves these days, really, so it's mainly about the clean sheets. Okay, so let's have a look at the team, see if we've got any moves planned. So for Saturday, I've got Pope, Newcastle face Everton, Thiago, Brentford host Burnley, Semenyo hopefully back for Bournemouth, they travel to Sunderland, and Dye, who's Everton host Newcastle, and Haaland, who's Manchester City are playing Leeds. So I think it'll be Haaland captain for me and probably most of that 100. 5 games on the Sunday. So Palace playing Manchester United, and I have Munoz. Villa are playing Wolves, no action for my team there. Forest playing Brighton, so nobody there. West Ham v Liverpool, and as you can see, I still currently have the captaincy on Mo Salah, who is very much in the last chance saloon. But he still looks like he's got the biggest ceiling. Could go for Munoz as captain. Palace against Manchester United. It only really needs 1 United goal, even though they didn't look like scoring one at home against 10 men on Monday. But the minutes on Salah could change. And then in midweek, so Bournemouth v Everton is on Tuesday, Fulham v Man City and Newcastle v Tottenham. So I think I'll be on Haaland that day. Wednesday, so Arsenal v Brentford, Brighton v Aston Villa, Burnley v Palace, Wolves v Nottingham Forest, Leeds v Chelsea, Liverpool v Sunderland. So is it going to be all in on Salah again? Let's have a look and see what happens on Sunday first. And then you'll notice a change of plan here for next Thursday. So the original plan was to move Enzo on for Mbeumo last week, but I think we're going to move Salah on now for Fernandes for the single game day at home to West Ham. And you'll just see, looking ahead to next Saturday, a change there with Ndiaye going out for Saka. Bit of a strange one with both Everton and Arsenal scheduled to play that day, but Saka, we'll see the lineup because they're playing at 12:30 against Aston Villa. Everton do play Nottingham Forest, who were improved away from home last time round. And Ndiaye will be going off to AFCON. We're not sure exactly when yet, but I think Saka's got more points potential, gets more of the money in the budget. I think if he's playing, I will be making that move on Saturday the 6th. But we've got plenty of time to discuss that, because next week we will be back on Tuesday ahead of the midweek games. So we'll do Tuesday night live. We'll get the lineups for 3 of the fixtures, and then hopefully back again next Friday ahead of the 3rd of these back-to-backs. Ready for hopefully some more positive Premier League action for our teams. So thanks very much for watching, everybody. If you like what you watch, then please give the video a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel, then please do. If you want to use the transfer planners that have been used in these videos, you'll find those over on Patreon, patreon.com/Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show. And for anybody that plays Dream Team, I was a guest on the Dream Team Tonic, the award-winning Dream Team Tonic podcast this week. So have a search for that if you'd like your Dream Team football. Okay, we'll leave you to it, everybody. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy the football, and we'll be back next week. All right, take care, everybody. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.